Ugh, those dark clouds, they always seem to ruin our fun. Mother Nature doesn't care that today is a holiday. 4th of July storms rolled through northern Colorado just about an hour ago. And as they made their way through Weld County, one of our viewers spotted this. Looks like it's about the shape of a funnel cloud. This is 15 miles south of Brigsdale, where you can see it's starting to form. Thankfully, nothing serious.
Well, the good news is for people in Denver, that's the sight. Most of the day today, a lot of blue sky, but it's coming. Later this evening is when the metro area is going to see a heavy wave and a series of storms. So we have to get right to meteorologist Chris Bianchi to talk about what this means for 4th of July celebrations and for safety tonight. Chris?
Yeah, hey, Kim. Hey, Tom. I would call this at this point the kind of false calm. That's what we're looking at right now. Tom, you were just describing that sunshine that we're seeing right now across the metro area. I mentioned this on severe weather days as well. When you get sunshine during the afternoon, that can add more fuel and more instability for stronger storms later on in the day. So again, I know that things have been calm so far. Grateful for that. Hopefully you've been able to get some outdoor activities in, but things will go downhill over the next couple of hours. So multiple waves of storms. Tonight, it looks like we're starting to see our first signs of a little secondary wave starting to push on in out of the foothills in the next few minutes, and then more storms for tomorrow. But all eyes on tonight. Severe thunderstorm watch includes the entire Denver metro area until 11 p.m. tonight. That includes the possibility for up to tennis ball sized hail. I'll also mention this. The other big concern I've got is the possibility for flash flooding. So if you're making plans right now, try and keep those as close to home as possible. I would just say try and avoid a cross-town kind of drive tonight if you can. All right, right now, HCD operator, notice how Denver is kind of in this little bit of a hole right now. To our north, starting to see some storms push their way into the Loveland area, as well as on south into Longmont, and starting to see some storms developing in the foothills. But for now, in the metro, we are calm. I expect that to change in the next couple of hours. Southeast Colorado, this is where it's been busy. Colorado Springs, very, very strong storm on the east and north side of town earlier on. Looks like a pretty good storm around Pueblo as we speak right now as well. So the forecast, notice those strong storms pushing their way on in along north of I-70 around 5, 6 o'clock tonight. Then another wave of storms around 8, 9 o'clock this evening. I will say there's a higher severe weather risk along and north of I-70, south of I-70. Overall, a lower risk for severe storms. But to kind of time this out for you, again, multiple waves of severe storms. So just to kind of explain this in a bit more detail, Kim and Tom, if you don't get that storm right now, maybe you don't get it at 6, 7 o'clock, you may end up getting it at 9, 10 p.m. So again, multiple waves of storms, and unfortunately that means overall a pretty lousy 4th of July forecast for most of us.
Well, everyone was planning to have their eyes on the skies tonight anyway. Certainly want to pay attention and get it right tonight just for safety's sake. All right, Chris, we'll check back with you in just a few minutes. Thanks.
The weather has a lot of cities worried. You heard Chris just mention that 9 o'clock wave. Golden, Highlands Ranch, Estes Park, they've all postponed their fireworks shows for tonight. They're going to reschedule for later in the summer. Boulder may launch its drone show as early as 8:15 tonight to avoid the storms. They're still keeping an eye on the forecast. Now, some cities have had 4th of July celebrations all day long, like Northglenn. They're planning to go rain or shine unless the weather gets dangerous tonight.
Well, 9 News reporter Jaleesa Irizarry has been at today's festivities. So let's talk about what has already happened today and what they're worried about tonight, Jaleesa.
Yeah, you know, right now it is absolutely gorgeous out right here. The sun is shining, but I will say about an hour ago we did see some dark clouds come in and some light rain, but it moved through fairly quickly and the sun came back out for people to take advantage of this beautiful weather and this beautiful event here. The 4th of July celebrations here in Northglenn, they've got a little something for everyone. Live music, activities for the kids, and even a car show that wrapped up about an hour ago. Good thing, because we are of course expecting some potential severe weather. The city of Northglenn says they are keeping an eye on the radar today, knowing about 12,000 people usually show up. According to the city, the festivities will keep going rain or shine, but if we start seeing some lightning or hail, the park will be evacuated. If that weather moves through, then the park will reopen. For those attending today's festivities, they say keep an eye on the city's social media pages. They'll post any updates on there, but of course, this is just one of the many potential severe weather days we've had this summer. We caught up with a few people to see if they're sick of it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but that's Colorado for you.
I haven't got hit with the hail, so.
No hail. I have not got any hail. So, yeah, keep my fingers crossed.
It's unusual, but I don't mind it because I don't have to water the lawn.
So for a state known for its sunshine, these people really do love some gloomy weather, and hopefully the weather will hold out for a fireworks show today, especially because of what happened last year here at North Glen. They did plan a fireworks show. People came, sat down, waited for those fireworks, and they never came. They had some sort of malfunction, and so those people went home without fireworks. But the city says if they do have to cancel due to weather today, they plan to reschedule tomorrow night. Kim and Tom?
You know, sometimes you can go out to a fireworks show and it'll only be 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
That's true.
That was the scene in Denver last night.
In Denver,
so
yeah.
Still trying to get more answers about that. We'll keep an eye on things where you are. Thanks to Lisa. As you might imagine, the weather has some people already worried about DIA, and the FAA a couple of hours ago issued a ground delay from 2 to 10 p.m. Now, the airport says that flights could be delayed up to 2 hours. Now, it is not a ground stop, but it does mean tougher traveling out at the airport. So far today, airlines have canceled 170 flights, delaying 301 more.
First responders are keeping eyes on the storms and the fireworks as well. Firefighters have already seen the dangers of fireworks last night. They believe debris from fireworks started a fire that displaced 4 people in Aurora last night.
Yeah, and in Parker, firefighters say someone improperly threw away some fireworks in a trash can. Well, they flared then, and that caused 2 homes to burn. And 9 News reporter Katie Eastman talked with a neighbor who's grateful that firefighters kept that fire from spreading even further. Katie?
Yeah, Kim and Tom, there is that threat from Mother Nature that emergency crews might have to respond to, especially since so many people are out here enjoying the 4th at festivities like this one here in Golden. And then there is that threat from humans, and firefighters say they did exactly what they tell people not to do and threw a legal firework away in a trash bin. The warnings are all over. But it only took one person not listening for these 2 homes to burn.
You could smell it, smell the smoke. It was all blowing this way, all the embers and some smoke. So we were scared or concerned that our house is going to catch on fire.
Firefighters saved Brian Westmoreland's home, but they couldn't save the ones next door.
But at the same time, when you lose all those personal items, it ticks you off that, you know, somebody being careless with fireworks, which, I mean, it's fireworks 101. Don't be an idiot.
Around midnight, firefighters were called to Kimball Street in Parker. They say the fire started after the people who live in the home on the corner threw a firework into a plastic bin.
When you get to reach a certain age, you realize, like, come on, like, don't be stupid.
So it's a little bit, gut-wrenching for us when we know that there are fires that can be prevented, and we just want to do everything we can to try and prevent another one from happening.
Eric Hurst got the word out yesterday about how to properly dispose of fireworks. He'll get the word out again today.
So it's a non-combustible can. You could also use a bigger container like a 5-gallon metal bucket or even a metal trash can if you want. But the whole goal of this is to fill it with water and completely submerge all of the used fireworks into that water.
He says the same thing every year, but keeps responding to fires started in the same way.
In the minds of firefighters responding to this at midnight, they're worried that people are trapped inside of these burning houses.
The young couple and their little girl were asleep when the fire started at their neighbor's house, but they got out as flames first destroyed their daughter's room and then the rest of the home.
But just knowing that you're responsible for burning not only your own house down, but your innocent neighbor's house down when they got a family, just not real smart.
As we wait here in Golden for storms to potentially move through, firefighters also want to warn people if it starts to rain or hail, don't move that barbecue into your garage. That's just another hazard that they don't want to have to respond to.
Yeah, certainly have their hands full over these next few days, depending on whether it's the weather or the fireworks.
Yeah, you just think, I mean, you're not supposed to do it to begin with, but why take a chance and then not dispose of it right or do it in your garage? It makes no sense. None at all. Katie, plenty of other good things to do.
Exactly, and I think it's frustrating for firefighters over and over to keep saying the same thing, and people either don't listen or they're not seeing that message.
Yeah, they want to be there for other things and not that kind of thing. All right, thank you, Katie. Denver police say a motorcyclist believed to be injured in a crash on I-70 was actually shot and later died from his injuries. Police tweeted today that they were investigating a single vehicle crash on I-70 eastbound near Colorado Boulevard that was reported about 12:20 this morning. They say a motorcyclist was seriously injured. In later tweets, they announced they were actually investigating a shooting and that the victim had died. Police said they're working to find more information about a suspect and ask anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers. That shooting closed part of I-70 for several hours overnight.
More than 2 years after a woman was shot and killed at a red light, one man involved in her murder is now going to prison. A judge sentencing 21-year-old Nishan Johnson to 35 years in prison for the murder of Pamela Cabriales. It was back in 2021 that Johnson, who was 18 at the time, was driving with a 14-year-old boy when they thought that Cabriales tapped their car from behind. The 14-year-old got out of the car and fired at Cabriales, killing her. Johnson was convicted of second-degree murder in March. The teenager's case is currently in juvenile court, but the Denver DA has filed a petition for that to be moved to adult court. Well, it is one